The echo of footsteps filled the empty school hallway. Fluorescent lights flickered overhead as Anna, a young teacher, gathered the last of her papers and sighed. It had been a long day, one of those days when nothing seemed to go right. Down the hall, she spotted him. The janitor, an older man in faded overalls, quietly mopping the floor, his back slightly hunched, his movements slow but steady. She barely noticed him most days. To her, he was part of the background, invisible, ordinary. But tonight would be different, because in the next few moments, Anna would discover something about this quiet man that would shatter everything she thought she knew about him. Something that would make her question every assumption she had ever made. If this moment already moved you, stay with us, because when the truth came out, it left the whole school speechless. Anna had always dreamed of teaching. Fresh out of college, she had walked into Crestwood High with bright eyes and big hopes. Ready to inspire, ready to make a difference. But reality came fast and hard. Her students were restless, distracted by lives outside the classroom. The administration piled expectations onto her, demanding better results with fewer resources. And the paycheck she took home each month barely stretched to cover rent and groceries, let alone her student loans. By the end of each day, Anna was drained. Her smile faded the moment she left her classroom. She moved through the halls with her arms full of lesson plans, barely glancing at the people around her. To her, the janitor was just another face she passed, a man who swept floors and emptied trash cans. Sometimes, when she saw him pause at her door to mop, she even caught herself thinking, "At least I'm not stuck in his shoes." But what Anna didn't realize was that the man she brushed past every day carried a story far heavier than a mop and bucket. And soon, that story was about to collide with hers in a way she never expected. It was late, and Anna sat slumped at her desk, rubbing her temples. Another stack of ungraded papers glared back at her. The vending machine snack she'd grabbed for dinner sat untouched. Her paycheck had run out days ago, and she was rationing every meal. A soft knock came at the door. She looked up to see the janitor standing there, mop in one hand, his other holding a small brown paper bag. "You forgot to eat again," he said gently. His voice was calm, steady, carrying a weight of quiet experience. Anna blinked, startled. I'm fine," she stammered, embarrassed. But he walked in, setting the bag on her desk. Inside was a sandwich, neatly wrapped, and an apple polished to a shine. She hesitated, her pride bristling. "I can't take this." He shrugged, already turning back to his mop. "It's just lunch. Don't make it bigger than it is." Something in his tone stopped her. It wasn't pity. It wasn't condescension. It was simple, steady kindness. As he left, Anna picked up the sandwich, her stomach growling louder than her pride. For the first time, she wondered who this man really was, and why he noticed when no one else did. What she didn't know was that this small act was only the beginning. Because behind that quiet kindness lay a truth that would soon shake her to her core. The next day, Anna arrived early to grade papers before her students came in. As she struggled with the copier, the machine groaning, chewing up yet another page, she muttered under her breath, ready to give up. From behind, a voice said calmly, "Pull the tray, not the paper." She turned, startled. The janitor stood there, tool belt slung around his waist. With a few quick movements, he fixed the jam, straightened the papers, and handed them back with a faint smile. Anna blinked. "How did you?" He shrugged, almost amused. "You'd be surprised what you learn when you're the one everyone forgets is in the room." As he walked away, Anna couldn't shake it. How many times had he quietly solved problems she never noticed? How much had she missed, assuming he was just ordinary? Later that week, the storm hit. Power flickered, rain slammed against the windows, and the after-school program was canceled. Anna stayed behind to comfort two students whose parents were late. Hours passed. She sat with them in the dim hallway, trying to mask her own worry. That's when the janitor appeared again, but not with a mop. He carried a large flashlight, a bag of board games, and a thermos of hot cocoa. He set everything down without a word, guiding the children into laughter and calm as if he'd been doing this all his life. Anna watched in awe. This wasn't just kindness. This was leadership, comfort, authority. When the storm finally passed and the children were picked up, Anna walked over to thank him. But as she spoke, she noticed something strange, a ring on his finger, engraved with a crest she recognized. A crest she had only ever seen in the framed photographs lining the school's main office. Her breath caught. Why would a janitor wear the school founder's ring? Anna's eyes stayed fixed on the ring. The silver band gleamed faintly in the hallway light, the engraved crest impossible to mistake. She'd seen it 100 times in the school's history displays, worn by the founders and handed down to board members. Her voice came out in a whisper. "Where did you get that?" The janitor, Mr. Miller, as everyone called him, froze, his hand instinctively pulling back. For the first time, his calm mask cracked. Anna stepped closer, her pulse racing. "That ring, it belongs to the people who built this school. Why do you have it?" Mr. Miller looked at her for a long moment, his eyes heavy with something unspoken. Then he sighed, setting down his mop as though it suddenly weighed 100 pounds. "You're right," he said quietly. "It does belong to them. It belonged to my father." Anna's breath caught. He continued, his voice steady but laced with pain. "I grew up in this school. My family founded it decades ago. But when my father passed, I stepped away. I couldn't stand the politics, the money, the boardroom games. I wanted to see this place for what it really was, through the eyes of the students. So I came back, not as a donor, not as a board member, as a janitor." Anna's mind reeled. This man, the one she had walked past 100 times without a second glance, was the heir to the school's legacy. Why hide it?" she asked, her voice trembling. His gaze softened. "Because titles don't change lives. Presence does. If I can sit with a child during a storm, fix what's broken, or remind a teacher to eat, then I'm doing more than I ever did in a boardroom." The hallway was silent. Anna's assumptions, her pride, her exhaustion, all of it crumbled under the weight of his truth. And for the first time, she realized she hadn't just misjudged him. She had misjudged what it meant to make a difference. But Mr. Miller wasn't finished. His next words would change how she saw her own purpose forever. Anna stood frozen in the quiet hallway, the weight of Mr. Miller's confession pressing down on her. She had walked past him for months, barely noticing, while all along he carried the legacy of the very place she was struggling to keep faith in. Her throat tightened. You could be anywhere. You could be leading this school, sitting on that board. Why choose this?" Mr. Miller smiled faintly, his eyes tired but kind. "Because sometimes the best way to lead is from the ground up. To understand what people need, you have to walk among them. Sweep their floors. Sit in their storms. Carry their burdens when no one else will." The words pierced through Anna's weariness like sunlight breaking through clouds. She thought of her students, the ones she believed weren't listening, weren't trying. How many of them felt invisible, the way she had made Mr. Miller feel? He leaned closer, his voice low and certain. "Don't let the world tell you your work doesn't matter, Anna. You may not wear a suit, but every lesson you give, every child you stay late for, that's legacy too." Tears blurred her vision. In that moment, Anna saw herself differently. She wasn't failing. She wasn't powerless. She was part of something bigger, and the quiet janitor, the heir who had chosen humility, had reminded her of that. Days later, Anna began greeting Mr. Miller differently. No longer as the janitor, but as a mentor. And though he never sought recognition, word of his truth slowly spread through the school. Students began to notice the way he carried himself. Parents whispered about his choice, and teachers quietly found inspiration in his presence. And Anna, she carried his words into every lesson, every late night, every tired morning. Because she had learned what Mr. Miller had always known. Titles fade, but impact endures. Sometimes, the greatest leaders don't sit in corner offices. They walk among us, mop in hand, reminding us that true power is not in being seen, but in seeing others. If one janitor's hidden truth could change the way Anna saw her purpose, imagine what the next story will do to your heart. Don't stop here. Watch our Kindness That Changed Everything playlist and let the next twist remind you why true impact comes from the most unexpected places. And if you believe more people need to feel stories like this, Subscribe now and join our Soul Twist family, because the next story might just be the one that changes you.